Hey Math 85 students, we are working on rectangular coordinates, and now that we've discussed whole numbers, integers, so that's positive and negatives, fractions and decimals, now we can plot all these numbers on a coordinate system. So some examples of coordinate systems are the grid system for the streets in Chicago, and also playing Battleship. Battleship is actually like the opposite. So the usually in Battleship you say this this number before you say this coordinate. But if Battleship was on a regular Cartesian plane coordinate system, what you would see is you put your ships on the grid and then you call out the location and try to hit somebody's battleship. So for example, if I said E5, that would be the location of that ship right there, and I would get a hit. If I said J8, that would be that location, and I would get a hit. If I said H5, that would be a miss here, right? So the Cartesian plane is sort of like that game Battleship, where you have a grid system, and every place on the grid has a specific location that can be found by going horizontally some distance and then vertically some distance. And those distances are given by the coordinates, the x coordinate, whatever the number is here, and the y coordinate. All right, so let's see that in practice. Suppose I'm given a coordinate system. What you have here is two copies of a number line that are in a horizontal and in a vertical position. The horizontal number line is usually called the x-axis, and it's usually just labeled with an X, and the vertical number line is called the y-axis, so you usually just see an X here and a Y there, and this is called the y-axis. All right, and these axes give the coordinates. The X tells you the horizontal coordinates. So in the middle here, these two number lines cross at 0, and then one unit to the right is the unit 1, another unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, 5 units. All right, and in the negative direction, you have your negative integers. So this 1 unit to the left is -1. Then I've got -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. All right, so I'm going to put, this is my first copy of the number line. Horizontally, my x-axis. My y-axis is the same thing, only instead of going left-right, it goes up-down. So 1 unit up, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then going down is the negative integers. We've got -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So every point in the plane can be described by the location of its x-coordinate and its y-coordinate. So for example, if I wanted to describe the location of this point right here, imagine that you're always starting from this is called the origin, 0, 0. And in order to get to that point, first you have to walk left or right, and then you walk up and down, right? So first I go 1, 2, 3 units to the right, so that I'm on this strip here, and then I go 1, 2 units up. So this point has the coordinates 3 for the x-coordinate and 2 for the y-coordinate. So again, 3, 2 is 3 units right, 2 units up. So 3 is called the x-coordinate, and 2 here is called the y coordinate. And again, when you think about these coordinates, since the x-axis goes left and right, the x-coordinate tells you your left, right distance from the center. And then the y-coordinate, see how the y-axis goes up and down? The y-axis, or the y-coordinate tells you how many units up or down you go to get to your point. All right, so let's write down another coordinate and see if we can map it. So let's plot the coordinate pair -4, 2. So this is my x-coordinate. I'll go 4 units. Since it's negative, I'll go 4 units to the left from center. So use 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 units up. 1, 2. So here is the coordinate -4, 2. Let's plot another point. We'll plot -3, -1. So starting in the center, the origin, go 1, 2, 3 units to the left and 1 unit down. Notice at this point, again, the coordinates are -3, -1. If I look at the location of this point on the x-axis, that location is -3. If I look at the location of this point relative to the y-axis, that location is -1. So these are called rectangular coordinates because you do indeed get this kind of rectangle if you look at where its x and y coordinates are. I'll just get a rectangle. Let's do another one. Let's plot 3, -4. So 3 units to the right, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 units down, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's that point. Again, coordinates are 3, -4. And if you look at its location relative to the x-axis, you get 3. Look at its location relative to the y-axis, you're at height -4. All right, so I've got all these points plotted. Now, let's talk about the quadrants. So the x and y axis break your plane up into 4 distinct regions. The first region is where everything is positive. That's called quadrant 1, and we indicate the quadrants by using Roman numerals. So this is quadrant 1, and we're going to go in counterclockwise direction. So here's quadrant 1, here's quadrant 2. And I've got quadrant 3. And last, I've got quadrant 4.